Hey, welcome to Surface Time, Confessions of a Diving Junkie. In this series, Stephanie has curated a collection of transferable experiences from scuba diving. Essentially, these are expressions demonstrating different perspectives about life, which are all intricately connected to all the roles we play. Today's topic is about fear. That little bugger can be so powerful, it can literally paralyze us. However, Stephanie has found some hacks to help us deal with fear. So, let's hear from her.
We should talk about fear in a rational way. So let's imagine fear is a friend, a elusive one. Gender fluid, male, female, both, and neither. And today we're going to get to know this elusive friend a bit better. First, fear's full name is false expectation appearing real. Sometimes the word expectation can be replaced with experience or evidence. And that really depends on how fear shows up. When this elusive friend shows up or creeps up, it can trigger all sorts of negative reactions: physical, emotional, and mental. Many times, it creates brain fog and impairs our sense of judgment and reasoning. So, fear really is not someone you will invite to dinner or tea, although there's nothing you can do to stop it from gate crashing. When it shows up, we have to make effort to manage it. Otherwise, things can get rather messy. On the show, I asked my guest, what is your greatest fear? And I noticed that I only have two types of responses. One group talk about their fear of not being able to live a meaningful life, whereas the other group simply find this question really hard to answer. They struggle to articulate their greatest fear. And it's very interesting, got me to contemplate. And I realized that we share a whole bunch of common traits. Pragmatic, focus on what is in control, able to stay calm, take responsibility for the decisions that we make and the consequences. In other words, accountability. We're all confident and mature enough. And our confidence have gained through the life experiences. And in that process, we become more effective in managing our own fear. So scuba diving is a high-risk extreme sport. We go and explore in a completely different world, an environment that is unnatural for humans. It is also a form of experiential learning. It can be life-changing. For one, we get to pick up our confidence. It can be safe to pursue, provided that you know your stuff and follow the safety protocol, like know your equipment, plan your dive the plan, dive within your limit. In other words, we participate with full respect for life and awareness of the potential danger. We follow the safety protocol and prepare our dive well because we're taking measured risks. Following the safety protocol is the key. Another way of describing it is the 7P. Proper planning and preparation prevent poor performance. Essentially, both safety protocol and 7Ps are the same thing. It is to ensure that we are competent and confident enough to manage our fear. Let's pretend that you have chronic fear for being in the water. And in fact, you can't even put your face in the water when you swim. You've tried your hardest to overcome this mental challenge, and you've made no progress. In this case, perhaps scuba diving is not for you. But on the flip side, say you recognize this fear is irrational and it's frustrating because you're missing out on the opportunities to explore the underwater world, and you really want to go and play in the underwater world like the rest of us as scuba divers. And you're prepared to do what you can to overcome this fear. In this case, I would recommend that you invest your money and time to learn scuba diving with the good diving instructors. Sooner or later, you will realize that once you embark on this journey, you are effectively reclaiming your power. And eventually, you will tame this fear with an elevated confidence. Speaking from personal experience, seeing fear dissipate is a beautiful sensation and intoxicating. So I learned scuba diving with the very intention to overcome my fear for deep water. I know that it's irrational, frustrating, considering that I have been trained to swim like a pro and I enjoy swimming. So I remember vividly the day I mastered the duck dive, where I descend down in complete Zen zone. It's feeling strong sense of tranquility. The gravity was pulling me down. I was graceful, as if I was a ballerina. And when I touched down the seabed, which is about 4 meters deep, and I grabbed the first handful of sand, I could immediately feel a sense of relief. And when I surfaced, ecstatic is an understatement. And I want to go back again and again. From that moment onwards, the fear became irrelevant because I can manage it effectively. So with this elevated confidence, when I return to land and corporate world, I go back with a new perspective. In fact, the same principle applies in the business world. Like with investment, all investment have risk. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. When we make investment, we will be taking measured risk, meaning the investment money will only be deployed after we have done the risk assessment, due diligence, identify the exit strategy, putting in measures to deal with unexpected curveballs like market volatility and hostile shareholders. In other words, asset risk management. So when the company is not doing too well, we look for ways to solve the problems. And if the company is doing well, then we will be looking for ways to increase the value with the intention to sell to the highest bidder. And when we receive the high returns of investment, that feel of good factor is intoxicating. So can you now see effectively the 7 P's? Proper prior planning and preparation prevent poor performance. It's really, in a way, a fear management strategy in practice, both in sports and in business. So we all have fears. This elusive friend will never go away. It comes and goes at its own free will. The good news is fear can be managed. And the hack is that we built up our confidence. Have you ever realized that what we fear most get to be manifested faster than what we desire? In other words, to live a life meaningful and successfully, we have to want and desire more than what we fear. So here's as a thought I'm going to leave for you, a bit of mind bending, but hear it out. On one end, we have the fear of failure. Another fear is a fear of success. Question is, which one is the greater devil? Let me know in the comments. And also, by the way, if you feel like to work on your confidence, whether through scuba diving or through coaching, feel free to contact me for a one-time 30 minutes free consultation.
So, in this episode, Stephanie has given fear a personality and a name, false expectations appearing real. I like this approach because by treating this emotion as a friend, we can manage fear with confidence. And don't forget, the 7 P's are a good hack, or as a fear management strategy. She also threw in this mind-bending question for you to ponder. Between fear of failure and fear of success, which is the greater devil? Send us your answers. So, in the next episode, Stephanie will be sharing some insight about the benefit of oxygen and the importance of using taking a deep breath as a tactic to calm a person down. Tune in to find out more.